So that new Batman VR game has been announced recently, which has become a new hot thing to hate apparently. Now, a lot of the hate is just to do with the fact that the game is VR exclusive, which I don't really think is a bad thing. I mean, Half-Life Alyx is VR exclusive, and if it wasn't, well, it wouldn't really be that fun. However, another big issue is with it being MetaQuest 3 exclusive. Again, that's not really that bad of a thing, seeing how the Quest 3 is one of the best-selling VR headsets right now. That is like complaining a game's exclusive to Windows, though seeing how it's only available on the Quest 3 and on the Quest 2 is a bit of a downer, but whatever. That isn't even my big issue. My biggest issue is that it's pretty much held hostage in this tiny device. And PCVR as a whole is kind of on its deathbed right now, and it's mostly Meta's fault. Playing VR games via PC is kind of an easy sell, right? Why just be constrained to whatever hardware they can squeeze into this thing, where you have a perfectly good game PC, which can most likely run laps around whatever SoC they put in here. And in the early days of virtual reality, that's pretty much everything VR gaming was. It wasn't really until the Quest, a standalone device that took the world by storm, that the idea of not having to use a PC really took off, especially seeing how it was also with a lot of, well, for lack of a better word, normies started to get into VR. It was no longer just a thing for enthusiasts. Little Jimmy could realistically get a VR headset under the Christmas tree for the very first time. And this idea was only cemented with the recent release of the Apple Vision Pro, and where you could still hook up your Quest 1, Quest 2 or Quest 3 up to your PC, it was no longer required, meaning that people who didn't have good game PCs could now also enjoy VR. Not to mention the fact that it's also where people shifted their priority to when it comes to game development. You still had some stuff come out that required a PC, like the original Asgard's Wrath, but then the sequel actually opted for a graphical downgrade in order for it to just be playable on the headset itself. And seeing how sequels are usually supposed to have better graphics than the predecessors, that's kind of all backwards. But with the success of the Quest line and Meta's absolutely horrible marketing of its capabilities as a PC VR headset, the entire market has pretty much died. And Half-Life Alyx being the last decent PC VR title that had any kind of hype around it certainly doesn't help. But anyway, Meta has completely failed at being able to deliver info to the users about how they can actually utilize a game PC if they have one to drive a VR headset. The whole process is extremely confusing with very dumb usage of Rift and Quest terminology. They do not promote the functionality almost at all anymore, and the whole PC store feels kind of just lackluster and like they don't even care about it anymore. As if PC VR gaming is just a relic of the Rift days, and now onboard gaming is all that matters, which for VR is very dumb. VR is all about immersion, right? And graphics do go a long way in that. Now, granted, you can still have stylized experiences in VR, and they do usually do very well for themselves. So everything has to be about total immersion as long as it's fun. But it certainly does help, especially in games that do actually favor full-on realism, but then will struggle when just having to use the Snapdragon SoC in your Quest 3, a la Batman. Now, thankfully, that upcoming Alien thing that was recently announced will also be available on Steam, so you definitely know which version I'll be buying, so I can finally get some use out of my RTX 4080, but still. But because of these actions by Meta, and also the Apple Vision Pro definitely isn't helping in that regard, developers just don't care as much about making games for PC, even if the graphics will take a hit, because, well, people simply don't care enough, apparently. What also doesn't help is that paradoxically, getting good, cheap PC VR headsets is kind of difficult right now. I mean, the Quest still remains the budget option, be it the Quest 2 or the Quest 3, even though it includes a decently powerful chip on top of it. Now, you'd imagine that a PC VR exclusive headset would be a pretty easy sell, right? There would be no compute on it, making it not only cheaper for the consumer, but also much lighter, thus making it also more comfortable for longer gaming sessions. But so far, none have really appeared to fill in that gap, which, well, needs to be filled by something if we don't want PC VR to disappear. Right now, we definitely aren't on a great trajectory, but things could still very much change, especially with the recent news about Meta opening up the ecosystem and plenty of new partner headsets being made. We should hopefully see much more competition in that regard, and maybe, just maybe, we can finally get a ball rolling on more VR experiences that get people not only excited about VR in general, but PCVR specifically, because this is all well and cool. Having a powerful SoC on board is awesome, but you're pretty much always just in your living room. You always have that PC next to you that you can just wirelessly connect to. And by the way, wireless connectivity to have low latency, high fidelity gameplay has also gone a long way in the past few years, even if there hasn't been too many experiences to actually make good use of it. Between Meta's Airlink, the classic virtual desktop, and now Steam getting involved as well, the options are kind of limitless. Though I'm also kind of wondering if having all those various options is also kind of hurting the overall experience by making it more confusing to the less than technically savvy Joe. And yes, the good thing about these VR headsets is that you can wear them outside, even if it still looks kind of silly. So at least the Apple Vision Pro people are taking the bullet for us on that front. But you're definitely not going to be playing engaging games outside, far away from your powerful gaming PC. So the PC VR experience is definitely still here to stay. It definitely just needs a bit of a shock to wake it up. But what do you think about all of this? Let me know down in the comments below. And whilst you're here, make sure to check out our Patreon, because even a single $1 a month truly goes a long way. Well, you get awesome perks as well, plus huge thanks to Gavin Burns, Justin Rage, Ella Ronyak, Dev Panda, Noskov of Kane, Barnish Vulcan, Patrick Harrison, Not a Pseudonym, Max Sumner, Shane Allcroft, Lansby, and Level Up. But anyway, that's what it's. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever we make next. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.